Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Nahmaduhu wa nasalli ala rasulihil kareem. Amma ba'd. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Respected brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome back to another edition of our weekly Wednesday Q&A session. As always, if you have any questions, please send me an email, mufti@islamstl.org, and we will inshallah get back to you on Wednesday with your answer. So this week we have a few questions that we will go over inshallah. The first question which was asked, and this is a question that has come up quite a bit lately, especially with the new health crazes and everything. What is the ruling on kombucha drinks? These drinks are being advertised as healthy and effective, preventing cancer and other health benefits. However, the labels indicate fermentation and sometimes even alcohol. And then the questioner also said that one who is pregnant, young children, or those with serious health issues are advised to exercise caution in utilizing them. What is the Islamic perspective on their consumption? So this is a very good question, and we have to remember first off that the rule of from an Islamic sense, from a fiqhi sense, is that any drink with any amount of alcohol that is from the source of grapes or dates, from these two, even if it's a minute amount, then in that case it would be considered impermissible because of the fact that alcohol that comes from these sources is considered an impurity. And this is a ruling in Sharia. Therefore, what the ulama say, what the fuqaha say is any product containing alcohol derived from any source besides these two, besides the source of grapes and dates, that it would be permissible on some conditions. Number one, of course, the fact that it would not intoxicate, right? So if alcohol would come from the source besides grapes or dates, and if it would not intoxicate, that's one condition. Secondly, and this is very important, that it is not generally used for the purpose of attaining intoxication. Like beers, for example. Beer does not, a lot of times it comes from barley, hops, and all these things, not from grapes or dates, like wine and all of that. But beer, of course, we know is generally used in a social purpose, social setting for people to become intoxicated and to get that feeling and whatnot. It's what's known in society and whatnot. Whereas if you think about another drink like, people even say drinks like Coca-Cola and other drinks like that have such a small, minute amount of alcohol. And by law, actually, if a drink has less than 0.5% of alcohol by volume within it, then in that case, they don't even have to advertise it as, they can say it's alcohol-free, basically. This is according to law. So drinks like that have such a minute amount, they are considered permissible because in the case of like Coca-Cola, for example, you don't drink that for the purpose of attaining intoxication, which you cannot even do anyway, but rather for the cola flavor and so on. When you talk about kombucha, it's a what the explanation is that it's a variety of fermented and lightly effervescent sweetened black or green tea drinks. Now, I personally have never had it or never tried it, so I can't really. I had to kind of look up it to see exactly what it is. But it's produced by fermenting tea using a symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast, or SCOBY, SCOBY. And the alcohol content of the kombucha is usually less than 1%, but it can increase with fermentation time. If you leave it to ferment, it could increase. So it also is mentioned that the alcohol in kombucha is normally produced, for example, like in vinegar or bread and so on, and it's a type that it does not intoxicate. So the principle here is that if the fermentation process is from sources other than dates or grapes, then it will be permissible to consume as long as provided that it does not intoxicate and there are no haram ingredients within it. And as I said, that it is not known to be drunk for intoxication purposes like beer and so on. So kombucha, of course, nowadays is being advertised more as a health drink and a health benefit and whatnot. And the amount of alcohol that is in there, which is not from grapes or dates, is not an amount that is to intoxicate. So therefore, the ulama do classify it as a permissible drink and it is halal to consume. Okay, next question is a life insurance question. And this is also a very interesting question because there are a lot of people who may fall into this boat over here. So you can pay attention carefully to this. Is it permissible for children whose parents have passed away to accept the life insurance money that they had, that they had left from their plan? So part of the question is very important as well. The children told the parents that the life insurance company might be involved in a riba. So dealing with them is haram, but they did not listen. If it is haram to accept the money, then can the children at least keep the total money the parents had paid as a premium to the insurance company? And can they take that as inheritance? And then for the extra, can they donate that to the needy? So this is a very, very interesting question. First of all, we talk about insurance itself and the concept of insurance. The whole concept of insurance is a concept of gharar or deception. And it's a concept of the unknown, that when you're paying for something which is the unknown, am I going to use it? Am I not going to use it? Do I know what's going to happen in the future? No, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. But that being said, the ulama have given permissibility for certain types of insurances because of the necessity that is involved. We can give an example of auto insurance. We have to have that by law. Health insurance. We know the extravagant costs of healthcare. Now, if something happens to someone, there are extravagant costs of healthcare that are involved, and people are sometimes paying for a long time. Even when they reduce the amount, still some people have a difficult time. So the extravagant cost of healthcare are there. So that is permitted. And things like home insurance. You have an expensive property like your home. Now, if it goes on fire or something like that and you lose it, then you may lose that entire thing overnight. So things like that are permitted. And even then, even in the case when one has insurance for these things, the scholars say that one can only claim whatever they have lost, not more. So if it exceeds the amount that you have paid as a premium to the company, and if you've lost that, then you can of course claim up to that amount that you have lost, but you cannot take anything more that is extra. That would still be considered riba from your side. Now, we talk about life insurance. Life insurance has not been deemed a necessity by the scholars. The American Fiqh Academy had submitted a resolution on this very subject, and they had divided life insurance into a couple of categories. First was a category of employer-sponsored life insurance versus the conventional life insurance that oneself pays for. The latter, which is the one that you pay for yourself, that is deemed completely impermissible. While the former, which is employer-sponsored life insurance, there are a couple of aspects to this particular thing. As long as the employer can either be voluntarily paying it. So you can, for example, opt into a benefit that the employer gives you, and then the employer from their side is putting in money for yourself. That's one thing. The second thing is you don't have a choice, and maybe a small portion of your paycheck every month is going towards the company life insurance policy, whatever else it may be. Those are two things. Now, both of these things, in this case, one did not choose to enter into the transaction itself. Yes, one opted into a benefit, but they are the ones paying. So that's considered a gift. And similarly, the one in which one had no choice, you had no choice in that the company is forcefully taking that money and putting it into that thing. So again, it is considered like a gift from the company. So in the case when the employer is sponsoring it and you're not giving it yourself from a voluntary basis yourself, that, okay, here's my money, even though you have, so from what I said, either the employer is not giving it to you as a free benefit, or number two, that they are not forcefully taking it. So then in that case, you cannot opt into it. But if it's those two conditions, then you can, and it will be considered as a gift. But this particular case over here, it sounds like the parents themselves paid for a policy which is impermissible. So therefore, when the time of inheritance comes, it would be permissible for them to accept the amount that they paid as a premium, but anything that is extra above and beyond that, they must give that away to the poor without the intention of gaining thawab and gaining reward. And this is what the scholars say with regards to this particular thing. So that was a very interesting question, which I feel a lot of people may be in the same boat for because of the commonality or whatever of life insurance that there is. Next question, can I work for food delivery like Uber Eats, knowing that at times I will be delivering food that is haram, things like pork and whatnot? I am jobless at the moment and I need the income. So first of all, this person who sent this question, I really commend this person for being sincere and trying their best to find a source of halal income. Now, positions like this, which normally involve delivering impermissible goods, generally one should not take these things when there are other choices that are out there for them. However, in the case like this, where one has no other source of income and they're constrained to adopt this form of income and they have no other choice, then one can continue to do this job, and while doing so, just make istighfar and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with sincerity for Allah to open the doors for another job. So look for another job while one is doing this, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with sincerity to open the doors, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will surely open the doors for you. Okay, next question was also very interesting. In view of taqdeer, which is of course decree or predestination and whatnot, and ahadith regarding things like telling the future. I think they're talking about when you go to people who are like psychics and whatnot, predict the future and whatnot. So what is the ruling to predict the weather conditions that come along? Would it fall into the aspect of trying to tell the future or whatnot? Now, this is an interesting question here. These are two different things here. When you talk about weather forecasting, you're applying the aspect of science and technology to predict the conditions of the atmosphere for a given location at a time. And this is something, weather forecasting, you're not just trying to think of something from your head and say, okay, I predict, or I know that this is going to happen. You're using technology and you're using what we have at our disposal to your aid in order to try to, obviously it is a prediction, but in the sense that it's a means of trying to help people prepare for what is to come. If there's a chance for dangerous storms, whether it's a winter storm or thunderstorms, whatever it may be, this is something that's there to help people prepare and to help for that. So there's a lot of good in that particular sense. Now, one of course has to have the mentality and the mindset that when it comes to weather predictions, that we don't have the capability to predict everything, and we see that on a daily basis. When you see the weather forecast, most of the time it's not correct, it's inaccurate, but a lot of times they are very close as well because of the technology that's used. It is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who truly knows at the end of the day what the weather is going to be and how exactly it's going to unfold. It is only Allah who knows that, and that is the type of mentality that we have. So in light of that, will not be against the concept of taqdeer or decree to take support from weather forecast warnings and prepare accordingly, whilst knowing that whatever is the will of Allah will surely come to pass, right? So this is what we have to remember. It's in Allah's hands at the end of the day, but we are allowed to use the technology at our disposal for this purpose of helping the people out and whatnot. Okay, when a person dies, things that are removable, are they removed from their body? So I think they mean that if they have, for example, if there's like fake hair or like a wig or something, or maybe dentures or whatever, yes, anything that is possibly removable, like a wig or dentures, or if they had jewelry on, whatever it may be, even if a woman has nail polish, and if it's possible to take that out before the ghusl, because we know from the ghusl sense the water would not penetrate that, then it's to remove these things, it is something which should be done before the ghusl of the mayyit. Okay, when exactly should the masbook stand up when they have missed more than one rak'ah or of the salah? So first of all, what is a masbook? A masbook is a latecomer for the salah, meaning that they have missed one or more rak'ahs of the salah, and they have to stand up when the imam makes salam to make up the rest of the salah. So fuqaha say that after the imam actually completes the second salam, that's when one should stand up to make up the rest of the salah. And if they do stand up after the first salam, as we do see people doing, then it will still be valid. The salah will still be valid in that case. But preferred view, according to the fuqaha, is after the second salam, that is when one should stand up to make up the salah. And the last question, if one has missed many salah in their life, and they want to do their best to make it up, how will they do so? And they don't know how many they have missed. That's also a good question that many people are in the same boat of. So first of all, we know that salah becomes incumbent upon a person when they reach the age of maturity, as soon as they become baligh. So one has to make an estimation to their best guess. And I would say go above that estimation to be on the safe side from the time they were baligh, and maybe say they have the habit of maybe praying this many salahs in a week or whatever it may be. Make the best estimation in terms of how many salahs or how many years worth of salahs you think you have missed, and then pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, oh Allah, give me the ability to do my best to make it up. That doesn't mean now you have to start and just praying salah 24/7 to make it up. That's going to be very difficult. But our teachers always used to give us the advice that after every regular salah that you do, make up one of the salahs. So after Fajr salah one day, do 2 rak'ah farad of qada that you had missed from before. And then after dhuhr of that day, do 4 rak'ah extra of dhuhr that you had done, that you had missed previously, and so on. And while you're doing that, keep a chart and maintain a chart. So if you do that for one whole year, then 1 year is checked off. And if you do it for a second year, then second year is checked off. And if one ends up returning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and passing away in that state, Allah knows best. They have the intention to make up those prayers. And inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being al-Kareem and most generous, He will count that. But it's also important to write in one's will and keep one's will updated, that for the family to use part of the money left behind to pay fidya on behalf of the one who has passed away for every salah that one has missed. That's why if one keeps a chart, then the family would have an idea in terms of fidya. For each salah would be the amount of sadaqatul fitr. So in our locality, for example, it's $8 per miss. It's $8 for the sadaqatul fitr. So for each salah, it would be about that much. So if it's possible for them to do that, then in that case, to give fidya on behalf of the one who has missed the prayers. So we'll end there today, inshallah. Again, if you have any questions, please send your emails to mufti@islamstl.org, and we will inshallah try our best to answer your question on Wednesday. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.